Welcome, one and all, to Speed Gaming for a race between Mclagging and Frostbite3030. I know there's been very little downtime since our last race, but we're going to get started real soon. The runner should start any second now. I'm Coy on commentary. With me is Matt7898. How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing, Coy?
Oh, I just woke up. But it's going to get better and better and better as we get into this race. This is a bracket stage race between these two runners. Mclagging won the first one. So everything's on the line right here. Mclagging wins, he moves on out of the brackets. If Frost wins, we go on to a game 3 later on.
Yeah, and both these runners are very good. You got Frostbite, the man of 1,000 rando races. He won 2 of the qualifiers, and Mclagging, good NMG runner. I expect to see some great execution from both these guys.
A little backstory for me. Mclagging's actually one of the people who knocked me out of the tournament. I lost 0-2 to him in the group stage.
Don't feel bad. Mclagging beat me 2-1 in the fall tourney last year.
I expect great things from him. So this is a little surprising because I just looked at the settings and I think this is assured swords.
Yes, that's what I saw too, which makes me question
neither of
why.
them go to the uncle.
Exactly.
Oh, right, because it's not uncle assured anymore, it's just regular assured. That makes more sense. Okay. I hate that they changed that. So you can see Mclagging already putting his sword to use. They already have it in hand.
Well, just a blue rupee there at Lumberjack. Might not be seeing Aghanim today.
And we're step for step here. The sync is real.
Having the sword here makes it really easy to set up the tier 2 tree pole or tier 3 tree pole, which is nice.
Well, regardless of the outcome, they will have plenty of rupees for buying bombs. Yeah, just single rupees there. Oh, look, bombs. Nice.
That's convenient.
Yeah, I guess with the assured sword, like starting with front of escape wouldn't be the worst play. I personally prefer doing back of escape before the front if the option is available. So
yeah, avoiding the dark cross chest is always a good thing to try to do.
Yeah, if you go to the front of escape too early, you feel kind of pressured into death warping and going to dark cross, which is not ideal, especially if it could be skipped.
All right, we got Frostbite entering Kakariko here. Let's see how generous this is today.
It's pretty generous. Nice sword.
Ooh, don't want to see that cape though.
No way. This
especially
is
combined with the Master Sword.
Couldn't possibly be an Agassi. Probably a little too early to say whether or not Aga will be Darkwold Axis, but finding both the Master Sword and the cape this soon, it's all you can think about until you find gloves and hammer.
So Coy, did you happen to watch their race last night?
Yeah, I think so. That was the one where... No, I'm not sure. I watched so many races now. Go ahead and talk about it.
So the real difference was there was a medallion on Catfish, which Mclagging got and Frostbite didn't. Also, Frostbite skipped checking the Ether tablet, which had the Canis Maria, and that really threw him off, which was the main difference last night for Game 1.
Oh yeah, no, I remember that now. Frostbite had like the 2 medallions he didn't need, and Mclagging only had the medallion he did need.
Yeah, I think he was a little frustrated by that one. So we saw a glove there on the Bottle Merchant, and a Tempered Sword. It's easy mode already here.
I know, right? You have plenty of hearts for the rest of the game when you have Tempered Sword. With the cape, even like Vitreous isn't even terrifying anymore. On
Yeah.
you know, the rest of the game on 4 hearts, they would both be fine. It's amazing.
And like Frostbite is a good entrance player. He's good at some of those weird modes that really make you do low percent strat. So he might not be as happy to see that Tempered Sword as Mclagging, because that's one of his probably main advantages.
Oh, that's a float. Both players gonna check the item before grabbing it, so not really a time loss if everybody loses the same amount of time.
Yeah, Flute's always nice to see. It makes you wish you did the south route to Kakariko, but not a big deal. So Flute's a little interesting. It makes, in my opinion, a little bit less likely that it's an Agassi, because it's giving you mountain access that's not based on the lamp.
Yeah, and then combined with the glove you already have, you're just one item away from either Aga or not Aga. Except that there's more items that rule out Aga, so it seems more likely.
Oh, Mclagging playing us the song of his people on the way to activate the flute. Always nice.
Right, we did a race the other day where the runners got like the book early, and they were both just spamming it on every screen.
Now, I love me some book spam. Much better than flute spam.
Da 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 da.
Alright, simultaneous flute activations. Now, it's always interesting when you get the flute this early, how long will it take them to check the house?
Yeah, the flute's taking you all over the place, and you can always just save and quit to Link's house. What I like to do in this situation is like end a route with fluting to a Gina or something, and then save and quit out of the back. And anytime I would have gone to a flute location. So like instead of fluting to 4, I just save and quit from Gina to 4 or so.
Yeah, that's what I would do too. I would go to Agina, save and quit, do back of escape, save and quit again, then start at the house. We got the now not useless red boomerang.
Yeah, definitely not surprising to see people picking this up with the advent of all that new Splash Elite tech.
Not just good for menuing anymore. Alright, we got 5 more items here in the mini Moldorm cave. Sword beams making this pretty trivial.
All the things. We got a bottle. Hammer! Dark World access.
There we go. Pretty early Dark World access here.
Unfortunately, guys, Aga is now forever ruled out. We'll never have to do it. For any reason. This can be a little awkward, though, getting Darkhold access at this point, because we haven't gone to like the weird, out-of-the-way locations that normally are part of the early Light World. So you see Mclagging, even though he has Darkhold access, still headed over here to Ice Rod Cave. But Frostbite might put this off for a very long time, this how much of the game is now available.
Yeah, and Koi, I think you and I are both pretty familiar with Frostbite in the daily races, and he plays a fairly aggressive and fairly unique style. But that also makes him like a super dangerous opponent for anyone in this tournament. Like, I don't want to play Frostbite.
Yeah, he usually routes under the assumption that it's a really, really, really nice seed. And when he runs out of nice things to do, he just systematically starts doing all those horrible things that he skipped. And assuming he doesn't last location the horrible thing, he still ends up with a good time versus somebody who was very thorough.
Yeah, and that's how you win 2 qualifiers, right?
I guess so. I mean, I won one qualifier, and I felt like I was being really efficient in that one. It really just comes down to like what kind of seed it is. Like some seeds are just really, really strong for this kind of routing. Some seeds are really, really strong for do absolutely everything kind of routing. Mclagging will not be destroyed though by any of these early checks. He even goes to Sahasrara.
Oh wow, we got mitts in back of escape. So now it's really, really wide open.
Absolutely everything. And Mclagging, of course, will also do back of escape. There's nothing to pair this with. It makes sense to do this as soon as you can.
Now the question is, will Frostbite go to Catfish right now? This is something that I bet he would never do if it not for the race last night. So I'm really curious to see this.
I feel it'd be really unusual to see him routing to Catfish with how much he just got, and this being his first time in the Dark World. More typical routing with the mitts here would be to go west onto Thieves Town, but we still don't have pendant information yet.
All right, let's take a look at this hype cave. We got Piece of Heart. Ooh, boots.
Frostbite just
single rupee.
And the bow.
Oh, and well, I think that's
arrow.
a 10 out of 10 for me.
Wow. Mclagging actually going to the front of escape. So you got to think like Mclagging's thought process here is, okay, well, I can do everything. So there's no way Frostbite's going here. So if there's something here, then I have a potential to gain like a huge advantage.
Yeah, speaking as someone who last location the secret passage chest in my race yesterday, I support, wow, another bow. Uncle with the goods.
Okay, that's pretty incredible. It's not like a huge deal that he gets that bow right now, because like he's just gonna get another bow at Hype Cave, which he's definitely gonna do before going to the bow dungeons. But he will have silvers at least for when he gets there.
So we did get a map check on Frostbite's side. Looks like we got green pendant Turtle Rock, blue pendant Swamp Palace, and the other 5/6 crystal at Skull Woods.
And we can safely expect Frostbite here to just continue routing north and into Thieves Town. But like assuming he found nothing there, like will he go to Skull Woods? Will he just go straight to Pod? You know, there's no telling with a player like him.
Yeah, like I get the feeling you want to go to Pod in this situation, but Pod's a little tough to beat with that turtle room with 6 hearts, no fire source. I can understand why he's going to the village first.
Yeah, it's definitely a dangerous room. There are setups you can do, but most are made much safer and easier with either the fire rod or a medallion.
You see him picking up the smith here.
That is surprising, because he will not be able to do Thieves Town.
Yeah, maybe he's just getting a few checks out of the way, and then he's going to hit a Pod. Opting to pick up that piece of heart, that makes me think he might be thinking Pod a little bit.
No, it's not super crazy for him to grab the smith first. He was down to 2 hearts already, so if he was going into Thieves Town, it was going to be like a dangerous Thieves Town, where this gives him the opportunity to heal up before going there. Even grabbing the shovel on the way here. Not really on the way, because he can just flute.
So good for Mclagging, taking the Hype Cave entrance, so he will get his boots not too long after Frostbite.
Nice bug net. All the unique items in this seed. You can just flute. Frostbite. I guess it's pretty equal now from where he is.
right, let's see what Smithy has for us.
Not even the clutch full heal.
All right, look, it looks like Mclagging is going to pod.
Yeah, straight to pod here. Definitely a big play. I mean, we expect both runners to go to pod eventually, but to do it at this point, where it's a little more dangerous than it would have been.
Yeah, I really like this play by Mclagging.
Frostbite finishing a magic bat, he'll be able to grab Sick Kid on his way to re-enter the Dark World. And I suppose this sets him up for grabbing the purple chest after Thieves Town, where he wouldn't have been able to do that otherwise.
Yeah, that's true.
You feel a little silly if you find the mirror, though, right? Going through Thieves Town.
Yeah, but you're isolating the purple chest hard if you don't do it the way Frostbite's doing it, so I understand why he's doing it this way.
So we find flippers in C-shaped house. There's that clutch full heal. I mean, Frostbite would have been fine going through Thieves on 3 hearts, but it does feel a lot nicer not having that beeping the entire time.
Yeah, and, you know, you might be a little nervous. He's playing for his life. Might want to keep it a little safe going through Thieves Town. Things can go wrong here.
Oh yeah, Thieves Town represents a large amount of enemy pattern RNG. Like that Stalfos right there that just bumped him for half a heart. Every single screen has this potential to just, you know, whoops, got hit, whoops, got hit. And when you're on 3 hearts, that can only happen one time before you're 1 hit from death.
Yeah, especially on green mail. Everything in here does 2 damage.
That's surprising. Mclagging going after the Stalfos chest instead of the vanilla big key.
We
Just
got
hoping.
Ice Rod here in Thieves Town.
Yeah, that's nice to find. Oh,
well,
there goes more of that RNG. I'd say so, yeah. I mean, I know it's like pendant, but I'd rather have it than not have it at any time. Oh, he ruled it out already. It was a small key the whole time. He was just grabbing the stuff in his basement before going to the back. He could have
yeah.
He could have like hammer yumped to avoid grabbing that small key. But
yeah,
like,
I would have hammer yumped in this situation.
Death warp. But he's probably gonna death warp anyway.
But part of the problem with hammer yumping too is I didn't see if he got the big key yet, and if it's in the dark maze, then it's kind of a pain to go around it twice in the dark.
Especially in the dark, yeah. Oh, Frostbite down to 1.5 hearts. You can see this RNG really not in his favor today. He does have that fairy in a bottle, so he's not likely to die. But anytime you get hit, it's time loss, and if you have to sit through that whole fairy animation, even more so.
Yeah, I think Mclagging got 2 dark items in that basement. I think that was the big key in the map. Mclagging looks like he's doing a pretty good job. Another dark item.
I guess it was the compass.
No, the compass shows up. I think it might have been a sword. Frostbite powdering that bunny beam there.
Wasn't a sword. I don't know what it was.
Now Mclagging's got to do this difficult
It
death
wasn't
warp
the
in the
mushroom.
dark.
Yeah, super frustrating to have to try and die in here.
Okay, so we got a book in the big chest in Thieves Town that opens up Desert Palace, which we cannot complete yet, but we could potentially get 2 items there. So Mclagging just opting to walk back through the dark maze as opposed to death warping.
Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. If you kill that one Kadongo on the bottom layer who moves east and west, it becomes much more difficult to death warp than it would otherwise. Ooh, Frostbite accidentally spinning there. Kind of throws off his script, but he gets it done, no problem. For a bottle.
Yeah, not bad recovery on that blind fight there.
So Mclagging coming up on these pod dark rooms, like as we were talking about before, these the turtle one, the third dark room, is exceptionally more challenging than most dark rooms because there's these 6 turtles, and if you hammer in just the right spot, like you kill them no problem. But they have a little bit of RNG to themselves, and you can't really see where you are in relation to them. So like whether or not you knock them over, you don't even have that information for sure.
Yeah,
So
if I were Mclagging, I'd be getting rid of these sword beams too.
yeah, sword beams make this a tad more difficult. It looks like he knocked most of them over, but he wasn't able to kill them fast enough because of the sword beams. So we'll have to keep hammering and try to get them down. One more.
He does also have that fairy in a bottle, so I'm sure he's not too worried.
There we go. Yeah, so he took a bunch of damage there, but he'll be fine.
Yeah, that was pretty good, all things considered.
Uses the cape to definitely avoid those last 2 sets of turtles.
Looks like Frostbite's heading over to... This is probably a hospital check, maybe? No, he's going straight... Oh, Eastern's a crystal.
Oh, happy
This is
mismarked.
our tracker had that wrong initially.
Yeah, this makes a bit more sense with it being a crystal. Routing Eastern into Sahasra is a little more efficient than the other way when you have the gloves.
Really
so
nice
Pod ended
Helmet
up
Sword
being-
fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Not taking any damage. He didn't even do like the safe strats where you hold the sword out. But the dungeon ended up being fairly empty. I don't think we saw any progression in there at all.
Yeah, it's rare to see a empty pod.
Yeah, with how early both bows were. Maybe all the progressions on Arma's Knights. Mclagging will continue on to Eastern Palace following Frostbite in here.
Yeah, this makes sense. You want to find a fire rod ideally before you start taking down the village.
it's a little awkward that we don't have East Death Mountain access yet, with how much like we've seen between both runners.
Yeah, and because we have a hook shot and a mirror, one of which is going to be required, but the other one may not be because of the Swamp Palace pendant.
Well, we can roll out the lamp from this dungeon. Frostbite gonna have to do a dark room to continue. One of the easier dark rooms, though. She'll have no problem.
Yeah, this one's not so bad. The other, the Greenies dark room can be a little tricky if it gets off the rails, but I'm sure both these guys are well versed in that.
Oh, the one on the way to the boss?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the sword simplifies that quite a bit. The big thing in that dark room is like there's all those little popos, and like one hits you and you're not sure where it sent you anymore. But with the sword, you can identify your position a lot quicker than without.
Frostbite finding blue mail in the vanilla big key chest, a chest which I may have skipped in this situation.
You're a gamblier than I am.
Yeah, especially without lamp. Frostbite echolocating his key with the arrows. Picks it up, nice job. Uses a spin to get the other guy out of the way. I love it. I like using that strat as well.
So flipper checks and I don't know, Mire Shed are starting to look like our best options. Following this for Frostbite, Mclagging will almost certainly be going over to Thieves Town.
Yeah, Frostbite without the silver arrows, gonna have to do the vanilla NMG Hermos fight here.
Can you do Yuzu, Matt?
Nah.
I know you're a really good NMG runner, and I associate that with people who can do Yuzu.
I'm not good enough at NMG to optimize Armos yet.
So just for chat, Yuzu is a strat for Armos that saves like, I don't know, like 20 frames or something, but is about 100 billion times more difficult.
Yeah. I don't need another place for my runs to die in the light world. Frostbite checking his hospital after Eastern. As you said, Koi, this is slightly faster.
Nothing to be had though, just a fire shield.
Yeah, so this is interesting. I kind of expect Frostbite to check the Mire area before the flippers checks.
He'll probably go pod for now. Yeah, there he goes.
Right, yeah, I forgot they hadn't done that.
But then after this, yeah, I think Mire area into flipper checks into probably the escape would be the most dense for him.
Really nice silvers fight from Mclagging. Mclagging's execution has been really good so far this race.
Oh yeah, he's totally on point.
So yeah, for the next few minutes, we're gonna kind of see these guys go over stuff the other one has checked already.
We're running out of nice locations to find things.
Yeah, kind of after that really generous light world / hype cave, the seed is really starting to dry up a little bit.
Yeah, having a hammer and mitts before Darkwood access, you don't really expect to get bottlenecked at any point. But that's pretty much the situation we're in. There's still quite a few locations we haven't seen, but most of them are very undesirable. Like walking Pyramid up to Catfish or something. Going to the front of Skullwoods at this point, it seems detrimental.
Yeah, and you don't want to go to the mire area without the mirror or the cane or a medallion, and you'd like to route in flipper checks with Ice Palace at this point, neither of which you can do.
Or Catfish at the very least.
So Mclagging opting to go south, not entering Skullwoods yet, which makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and he'll be able to continue routing down from here. He did not do Stumpy or Dig Game, so very unlikely we'll see him go into Skullwoods anytime soon.
Yeah, and with that blue mail, a few more hearts. Gonna have a bit of an easier time getting through Thieves Town.
Frostbite finishes up the Bowlock side of pod, finds his second item in the front.
So after these checks, Coy, where do you think these guys are going to go?
I think I think Mire Shed is the best option. And then if that's nothing, like at least you have the medallion information for Mire, and then you just go flipper checks. Frostbite also has the option of front of escape, which is relatively dense because he still hasn't done like the uncle. I'm not sure about Dark Cross. Did we rule out Dark Cross? We've seen both front and back. I don't remember.
I'm not sure.
Doing Dark Cross, so it was probably like a small key.
Yeah. Mclagging, nice recovery on the Hellway there. He did miss the pixel, but still got it in the 2 dash.
Yeah, anytime you get through the Hellway without taking like 10 hearts of damage, I say that's a win.
See Frostbite navigating his way through the dark maze. Seems to be doing a pretty good job, just like Mclagging did. Looks like he's also trying to figure out what all these dark items are that he's grabbing.
Yeah, what did we find?
I still don't know what the third one was. Like, I initially thought it was a sword, but it was definitely not a sword.
And unfortunately, Frostbite, you have a fairy. Or was that an unintentional death? Oh, it was unintentional.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I thought he might be setting up for the future Death Orb, but you would just release the fairy in that situation.
Okay, in that case, then the fairy saved his life. Thanks, fairy. You're the best.
So Mclagging getting his book from Thieves Town.
Yeah, Desert Pal is also an option for our runners. It's just a really, really, really not great one. Having to go through Desert Palace the vanilla way with the book, only to not have a fire source at the end would be quite distressing.
Yeah, it's always a pain.
But, you know, there's the possibility remains that there's just a fire source in desert.
Mclagging doing a real good job with the blind script here.
Yeah, going quite a bit better than Frostbite's fight did. A little
Yeah,
bumpy at the end, but still gets it with before he crosses.
That's about as good as you can do it.
Yeah.
He was pretty far outside the light there. So Frostbite taking on the turtle room without the safety of his fairy, but he's got blue mail, a few more hearts. I don't see this being a problem for him. To answer a question in chat, Frostbite has done the purple chest and some of the South of Dark World, which Mclagging has not, and Mclagging has done the back of Escape, or sorry, the front of Escape, which Frostbite is not. That's pretty much the main difference between the two.
The other bow located at the uncle.
Also, the uncle has the silvers to answer another question.
So Mclagging heads south here to grab Dig Game. Probably picks up the Smith, I would imagine, given how little is available right now.
Yeah, and you don't have the mirror. You're gonna save and quit anyway. You might as well get him.
Yeah, with the flute, it makes it a little nicer of a play. Like you were saying before, this also orphans the purple chest, routing it this way.
Frostbite getting through those dark rooms really well.
Honestly. I don't need no stinking lamp.
All right, so after Mclagging turns in the Smith, hopefully we will see some new checks.
We might see him just immediately do the purple chest because it is so orphaned. It does feel really awkward to have to do it in this situation, though, because there's nothing to pair it with. Like, it's not going to continue on into desert without a fire source. Where for Frostbite, it was, like, on the way.
True. He's also taking this opportunity to do the boost checks, which we have not seen yet. And there is a blue cane, which does absolutely nothing for us.
Not a thing. You can flute. You can flute.
He's going to Bonk Rocks, I think.
Oh, right. Yeah, he's about that. I may or may not have orphaned Bonk Rocks in multiple seeds over the last 2 years.
It's tough to remember sometimes. So one interesting thing, when you have a really late lamp like this, it makes you not want to dip pendant dungeons. Seeing as we can't get into any of them now, it's not really relevant, but it might be in the future because you don't want to find your intended progression that is the lamp when you might have a fire rod available.
Yeah, that's a very real scenario. I actually had a tournament race where that happened, where I'm like, okay, I feel like there's totally progression in left side swamp without the hook shot, and I was right. It was just the lamp, though.
Yeah,
so I spend all this time to get an item that my opponent just sequence broke the whole game, and I could have as well if I hadn't made that dip.
All right, so we're getting new information on both sides here.
Mclagging making a big play to go into desert right here.
So we got nothing in the Mire chest. Or sorry, Mire shed chest. I did not see the medallion. Looks like our great tracker has informed us that it is Bombos.
And Frostbite go in front of Escape. Definitely a good call from him.
Yeah, this makes sense. It's probably his most dense location.
I'm super surprised that Mclagging's doing this instead of going to like flipper checks. Like neither are super great time plays, but like double dipping desert hurts pretty bad. But if both fire sources are locked by this dive, you know, that's a huge advantage.
Yeah, well, there's both items.
No items.
Just rubies. And you can intend to finish desert with Mire if and when you get a mirror, but that might not work out.
Yeah, especially seeing as how Swamp is one of our pendants. We may never even find a mirror. Looks like Mclagging's going to continue on to... Oh, please. Please don't tell me. Okay, thank you. Whoa, that was close.
We've all done that before.
Every single person. All right, I was going to say he's going to continue on to Agita's cave. There he goes. That would have been really unfortunate if he went back there. You can go all the way to the room before Lamo before realizing, oh, I don't have a fire source. That's right. It is quite a huge time loss.
You see him dashing out of Agina's cave. I have been told, I don't know if this is true, that the extra save and quit time makes this faster now.
I have not timed it personally, but I'd believe it. They're gonna fix it though eventually. They said so.
So Frostbite also saving quitting out of Escape. I think that means pretty much there's nothing in Dark Cross.
Now is the time for flipper checks. Most definitely. Frostbite actually going to grab Ice Yard Cave on his way.
Looks like Mclagging's going to shovel. This is really good for Frostbite, actually, because he can set up the water walk here if he wants.
Yeah, nice quick hobo check.
Mclagging showing us his displeasure, seeing that bug net. Doesn't want to ruin his menu, so leaving that behind.
Yeah, looks like after all is said and done, 42 minutes in, our runners have converged again. Everybody's done everything that the other one has done.
Yeah, I actually think
for that desert dive.
Yeah, and the purple chest. Alright, let's see what the man under the bridge has for us. Still nothing. So, really, Zora, Pyramid, Catfish, or Spectacle Rock have to have something. Yes, or Skull Woods.
Well, given all those options, flipper check's definitely the best available. Yeah, Mclagging, unfortunately, just a bit shy of that 500 number that we need for Zora. Waterfall was empty as well.
Just a whole lot of nothing everywhere. This getting to a real choke point here. Mclagging have a little bit of trouble with that spin speed. Those cabbages can really get in your way.
Yeah, they do not make it easy. Oh, there's the Force Sword.
Hey, there we go.
What a nice find.
The fish had it all along.
Alright, there is our east, that's mountain access, all the things available. And this also means that Mclagging's not going to lose like a ton of time for going up to Pistol Rock Cave. Because when he comes back, he'll just go east instead of north.
Opting to pick up this 50 rupees, so that tells me he's going straight for Catfish. After he checks Spike Cave.
Yeah, Frostbite also doing Spike Cave before heading on to the east of Mountain. Just makes the routing a little nicer, not having to choose between Spiral Cave and Spike Cave when you route it this way.
Yeah, and if it ends up you get so much good stuff on Death Mountain that you don't want to go to Hera, then you won't be coming back here anyway.
Yeah, Spike Cave gets over in pretty quick. Although it would have saved our runners from a piece of heart. I really want to see the mirror next, just because it would be the worst thing for them to find. If we just keep finding like required crystal dungeon items, like the runners aren't going to deviate, and it just becomes this really long battle of execution where one runner is like barely ahead the entire race until somebody falls Tumbledorm 2.
Yeah, well, the hookshot gives us access to a lot of overworld items. It does not make any of our crystal dungeons completable. Alright, 7 items in Paradox Cave. This has got to give us something.
Like 20 arrows.
Ooh. Just what he is looking for.
Nothing. Mclagging getting his hook shot. More nothing. Kana Samaria is not super helpful at the time.
Yeah, gain progression. Still
yeah,
does
definitely
nothing.
going to need it later.
So these runners are very close together. It really is just that desert dip. Some of that time Mclagging is going to get back. That is the difference between the two. The one kind of annoying thing about this item setup is that it practically forces you to abandon Spiral Cave.
Why?
Because he's going to go here, go into Hera, then he's going to want to take the TR portal to get Hookshot Cave and Super Bunny Cave. He could go down and back around, but that's
without a medallion, like. But without a medallion, like it's not like you could open tier anyway.
I suppose it is just slightly slower, but with boots, it's really not that big a deal.
I definitely feel a little more inclined to do the Spiral Cave skip if I didn't have boots, but with boots, like I think it would be a little. Well, mirror changes things though.
Yep, never mind. Frostbite's abandoning Hera immediately. I do not blame him at all for that.
Well, that's the item I wanted them to find, and now we can full clear Pendant Swamp Palace. Yay!
Yeah, Mirror's nice, but all it does is open up places you don't want to go right now.
Yeah, a little good news for Mclagging. He'll be able to finish off Desert from the back when the fire source does arrive. But now we have like Cave 45 and Graveyard Ledge and Bombo's Tablet, and Checkerboard. Like all these mirror checks are so far apart. It can be very awkward to route them in after you've already done all the regular overworld in that area.
Yeah. And with where the hook shot was, like, these runners could be thinking that the other one found that much earlier than they did. So they might be feeling a little bad about that situation. You see Mclagging here opting for a Hera pot. Nice bonk setup. I did not know that worked. I'm going to steal that.
I still prefer the way I do it. But, you know, whatever works. Finds a second item and nopes out of Hera. So, Pedestal not even crossing his mind. Although I think it would just be the medallion for Meyer at this point.
See a mushroom there in Hookshot Cave. That might draw Frostbite to route that in with Pyramid and Catfish, but he has the flute, so it might not.
Did he
So really,
look at the medallion for TR at all?
I don't think so. Because his go mode is now Fire Rod and a medallion, so he could be potentially locked out of TR completely.
TR is Bombos, so don't gotta worry about that then, because it's gonna give us Meyer access as well.
So really all the mountain did was give us access to Swamp Palace.
And the other 4 mirror checks, which are all out of the way and horrible to get to. Looks like Frostbite's going to head over to the Meyer area, get Checkerboard, Agina, and Desert, although still no fire source.
So you see him going into the desert, so Mclagging's going to get this time back that he spent in here. Although, with the mirror, Frostbite's going to be able to do this maybe a little faster. Alright, well, Frostbite about to get his big 20 as his second item out of Desert Palace here. Then we'll see Checkerboard Cave, I would assume.
Yep, then followed by Agina, presumably. No telling what Mclagging's going to do next. Checkerboard's definitely the single fastest of all his new mirror checks available. Opted for the mushroom turn in right away.
Nothing at Checkerboard Cave.
Nothing at the mushroom.
All right, Mclagging, where
is
you going,
the
buddy?
mushroom? Give me things. Hey, it's going checkerboard.
Yeah, this makes sense.
I mean, swamp's like the play, right? It's the most dense thing you can do at this point.
Yeah, if I were Frostbite, I'd be
don't
going to
see-
Swamp here. Like, you can
Yeah,
do
Swamp also-
K45 and Bombo Tablet as well before
Yeah,
you go in or after, whatever your preference is, but you're going to Swamp.
It's such a huge time commitment, though. If it does end up being empty, that sometimes you just see players try and put it off for a while, which can very often lose time as well.
Or if it's just the lamp, which
I
doesn't lead to the fire rod.
Mclagging looks like he's gonna do. If he's not, like he'll do purple chest like on the way. I think he might go over to Graveyard Ledge.
Yeah, I think this is a skull into graveyard into catfish, maybe.
All right, so we got some deviation.
Yeah, I can understand this from Mclagging. Like, you may assume, a lot of people like to do Skull Woods as soon as they enter Dark World, so you could be assuming your opponent had already done that, and you're doing this just to kind of prevent getting randoed by Skull Woods. So answer chat, there will be no ped check. I can assure you of that.
Yeah, it's completely ruled out. All we need is Fire Rod and Bombos for go mode, and both are required for Pendant Turtle Rock. Couldn't even be the lamp.
Alright, finally, we are getting the Swamp Palace play. So did Mclagging find 0 items in Skull Woods?
I think that is correct. No items to be found in the front of Skull Woods.
Yeah, that feels real bad.
It's like, I could have gone to Swamp. Why did I come here? Graveyard Ledge can save him, though.
Yeah, if you have been watching these tournament races lately, Graveyard Ledge and Catfish are both very hot right now. See a map in the first chest of Swamp, which assures us an item will be locked by the left side.
Ah, I feel so bad for Mclagging.
Nothing at Graveyard Ledge. This has got to be getting really frustrating.
So that just leaves us Catfish, Pyramid, and Swamp Palace. Mclagging gonna continue this route over to Catfish.
It did win him the race last night. Let's see if it will do so again. The really bad thing is if you find Bombos first. Like, it just gives you even more bad choices. There we go. Fire Rod in Swamp. Frostbite thinking about it.
Just considering
He's gonna
it.
continue.
Okay.
To be fair, Fire Rod only opens up 2 more items for him, so it makes sense for him to continue. Oh yeah, sorry, 5 more items for him.
I think I would definitely have left, to be quite honest.
Yeah, Koi, I think I might agree with you.
And considering that Mclagging is doing all this overworld, I think when he finds that fire rod, he is gonna definitely leave because he knows he's feeling behind. Unless this is Bombos right here, and then he'll just be in go mode. Oh, nope, it's in the
good,
back.
good thing he didn't leave.
Frostbite just knows, man. What the heck?
What a god. And so with that, 59 minutes, 40 seconds, Frostbite is in go mode.
Yeah, unfortunately,
It's really interesting. He's only got 3 crystals, so he gets to go mode 4 dungeons. Although one of them he's already did.
Yeah, we can't count those. Right? Yeah, Mclagging going to pick up the purple chest on his way to Swamp Palace. Unfortunately, he doesn't really have a great opportunity to get ahead at this point. This time he's behind. He can only save through execution. And with everybody being on Tempered Sword Blue Mail, silvers, it's not really a lot of variation there.
Yeah, assuming he's walking this down to do the mirror checks, to go into Swamp, he's probably over 3 minutes behind. And against a runner as good as Frostbite, that's going to be extremely difficult to make up.
Yeah, I think he's definitely going to have to bank on Frostbite making some big execution mistake, like dying to Silver's Vitreous or something. I can't believe he stayed in Swamp, though. I don't know, it felt like a really good call to leave Swamp right then.
Staying in Swamp, that's not the Frostbite I know. He might be feeling burned from last night.
Yeah. Like, Bombos being behind the Fire Rod at Ice Palace is like the super common scenario. As like, I probably would have gone there first even. But maybe that's why I'm commentating and not racing.
Look, man, I would have made the same decision. Alright, so Frostbite, decent Mothula fight there. Gets his 4th crystal.
And Mclagging runs out of checks and is now forced to go into Swamp Palace here. De facto last locationing progression.
Yeah, you can consider this Bombos basically a hard last location.
Even more so if he leaves after the Fire Rod like I wanted to. And I think he's more inclined to do it than Frostbite.
Yeah, he's got to be feeling pretty behind at this point.
Oh, poor Frostbite losing his sword beams right before entering the dungeon. Sword beams are a very important part of the Mire 2 room coming up.
Yeah, Frostbite might be feeling a little nervous at this point. He knows he's in go mode, just has to execute.
I drink the potion.
Also for Frostbite, you can not feel bad about using Cane in this room if you want. Without Lamp, spooky action is extremely difficult, but it can be done.
I don't think I've ever tried
this Mire is.
Something that are...
I've seen a few people do it. I've seen Pink Kitty Rose do it, a couple other good runners. I can't do it. I've tried to do it. Definitely take that half magic.
Yeah, so there's no lamp coming up on the Gauntlet in GT. Even more impactful than Ganon since they have silvers already.
No Godmire today.
Well,
Here comes the big decision for Mclagging. Does he continue?
He's continuing.
Good.
All right, well, that's good for him.
Frostbite opting to check Mire Lobby before the cutscene chest, which makes perfect sense.
And there is go mode for Mclagging. Unfortunately, he has quite a bit of time to make up here. Frostbite's routing works out, not having to do the cutscene chest. Oh, had he not grabbed that key the first time he was in that room?
Yeah, apparently not. Because he did get one from the chest. I don't know. If it was just anybody I'd trust, knowing key logic, it's Frostbite. Frostbite just missing the toss of that block there. There we go, got it that time. That Mire Darkroom can be a real roadblock for players trying to ditch the lamp, but if you know the toss strategy, it's really not that bad.
Yeah, it's like it's the hardest one to learn. Like the strategy for doing it, like it takes the most practice before you can do it consistently. But once you can do it consistently, it's not even like top 3 in execution requirement. That turtle darkroom they did earlier, I would say, is easily much more difficult without that fire rod.
I completely agree with you. See our first Ice Pals bomb jump coming up from Mclagging. That looks good to me. Nicely done.
It's always nice when players use the link spray.
We got a Silver Arrow Vitreous fight. Should not be much of a problem here.
Not even taking a single heart of damage. No surprise there.
You see Mclagging not checking anything in Ice Palace. There is nothing he could possibly want. He even knows where the gold sword is, so...
There's no way either runners are going to pick that up either.
Oh no, that would be a complete waste of time. Cold Stare getting away from Mclagging a little bit here. Cleans it up pretty nicely though. To answer chat, the gold sword is on top of Spectacle Rock.
Yeah, so they'd have to go like the slow way up the mountain to get to GT just to grab this gold sword, which has no bearing whatsoever on anything that happens in the gauntlet, and all it does for Ganon is make the 1-in-1 easier. But it's already possible with the tempered sword.
Yeah, at this point it is completely useless. Frostbite expressing his frustration at missing the one cycle land mow. Cleans it up though. With that, he is a Ice Palace away from going to Ganon's Tower.
Ice Palace pretty quick dungeon.
So if you're Frostbite in this situation, how are you feeling about how this seed is gone?
I think you feel pretty good. Like the only like not feeling great thing he did was like mirrorless book and everything, or mirrorless Smiths.
Yeah.
But you know, getting to skip front of Skull Woods, the pyramid catfish checks, Graveyard Legend, all that feels right. It feels good.
Yeah, the only thing you could feel bad about was maybe the late hook shot, but you can't really assume your opponent's going to be rushing for Pendant Swamp anyway, even if they got it early.
And Frostbite at least did consider leaving Swamp after finding the Fire Rod, so like there's always potential your opponent did that as well, and that ends up losing a ton more time. So making the right decision at that decision point feels really good.
Agreed. So yeah, it also looks like we're going to get a Game 3 out of the series, which is always nice. I've been enjoying watching it, so I'm looking forward to that as well, if it happens.
Yeah, these guys are pretty evenly matched in execution, and both seeds now just come down to who found Go Mode first, who routed in fewer checks before finding it.
Yeah, if you look at the predictions in the challenge play page, like the voting for these two was very close, which I think makes sense.
I don't even remember who I picked. I think I might have picked Frostbite because I was salty that Mclagging beat me. But maybe I should have gone the other way. Mclagging winning like the whole tournament justifies my losing to him, right?
That's how I felt about the last fall tourney when Andy won.
Speaking of ruining predictions, Sapotender.
Get to see how Mclagging handles this Mire Dark Room as we get a Cold Stare fight from Frostbite. He's got half magic, which Mclagging didn't, so that might speed this up a little bit for him.
Mclagging trying to place the block directly on the switch. This is a bit more difficult than Dark, but he does get it on the second attempt.
Wow, I don't know if I've ever seen someone do that. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think the tossing it from the bottom wall is a lot more common. That's how I learned it anyway.
Yeah, that's the only way I learned it. All right, Koi, so with that, Frostbite has 7 crystals.
Am I starting?
I hope you know how to do the thing, because I do not know how to do the thing, so we should do the thing. I see our tracker has got us.
All right, you can do it then. I'm not going to bother. That's right, guys. We're headed to Gainus Tower. In Gainus Tower, there are 22 item locations, one of which will contain the big key that Frostbite needs to finish this game. If you'd like to, we will follow Frostbite through Gainus Tower and count its locations as we go. And if you guess correctly which one, you will earn points for the big key guessing game leaderboard, which is cumulative among all of the restream races here for this tournament.
What's your guess, Coy?
I try not to guess. I don't want to influence anything, but I guess one, I suppose, if I had to guess something. A nice spin. You got all the eyes with that spin.
Yeah, that was a good NMG fight right there, minus the silver arrows. I'm gonna go with 8 for my big key guess, which could be the map room, maybe, depending on which route they do.
Frostbite, come on.
That is the hardest peg puzzle.
I don't do it with the super speed anymore because I kept doing that over and over again.
So despite that kind of long period in the mid game where we found absolutely nothing, this is looking to be a pretty quick speed. Tends to be that way when you don't have to go into Turtle Rock.
Yeah, which is most likely where we would have found the lamp. Frostbite going to Hope Room first. 2 checks are nothing, but he will continue on to Compass Room.
To answer chat, yes, they did go into Hera. The mirror was in Hera.
Yeah, I was on the first floor. Frostbite noped out after finding that Mclagging Hera-potted and grabbed the 5 rupees on the top. So just a little more time that Mclagging spent there. Not a super significant difference maker though. Number 3 and 4, nothing. 5 and 6, also nothing. Go full right. Go full right. He's not gonna go full right.
He's definitely not going full right.
Nobody goes full right.
Get a useless Quake medallion here.
Number
torch.
7.
Let's see the DM room here.
Eight and 9 are nothing. Stopless are being jerks. Number 11 has
there
the
we
BG.
go.
And our winner was Eagle Eye 3. Thank you so much for participating. You have won the game. Congratulations.
Now we get to see my favorite part of rando runs, execution through the gauntlet, which is also why I hate Fast Ganon.
That's why I would pick Fast Ganon if I was up against you. I imagine that Fast Ganon will get less and less popular a pick as we get deeper in the tournament, just because it's so unlikely to be a difference maker, as everyone's execution is at that same, like, not going to lose any time kind of level.
Yeah, that's true. I could see it being picked to avoid getting hovered on, but that's so rare. Maybe it's not worth it.
Well, I like it at game 3 though. Like if somebody picks 6-6 because they could hover for game 2, and then I'd counter pick with fast cannon in game 3.
Yeah, that makes sense. Really nice gauntlet here by Frostbite so far.
Yeah, half magic's really helpful. So if you get like the bad RNG, you can just fix it with the fire rod. The Lambo 1 cycle eluded him, but the Lambo 2 he gets no problem.
There you go, gets his revenge. I gotta say, I've been really impressed by Frostbite's execution throughout this whole endgame. Nice whiz robes there as Mclagging is making his way to gain his tower. If he goes left first, he could make up a little bit of time. Frostbite avoiding the GT despawn.
Have you gotten that before?
I got it 2 weeks ago on a on-pace NMG run, which hurt a lot.
Oh my god. I got it one single time, never again. I had to go to the Rando Discord and say, what happened? I've never seen this before.
Really nice Moldorm 2 by Frostbite, continuing this really good execution of the gauntlet here.
Literally nothing could have been in that chest. Don't worry about it, you guys.
Yeah, like he doesn't want sword beams right now, so even health is not good for him.
Mclagging will be headed to Compass Room, so no time gained there.
That was kind of a tough pattern there for Frostbite, getting a single. Oh, just get robbed of that triple.
Man, Aga, please. You cursed him by talking about how good he's playing. What the heck, Matt?
Just don't tilt Frostbite. You're still doing good. No!
Yeah, Aga is a really awkward encounter where the longer you take to kill him, the harder it becomes, because they start getting like super desynced. There we go.
The rare 8-cycle Aga.
Rare for you! I have a bad Aga fight nearly every night. Oh, let's put it this way. I've had more 8 cycles than I have had 2 cycles.
That might be true for me too, to be honest with you.
Mclagging getting that key in the first chest, routing Dark Magician's room properly.
Frostbite not going for the 1-1. He could salvage it, but he did not. Oh, he did! Wow. I've never seen anyone do it that way.
That should be enough right there. Nice 1-1. It's definitely not the way you usually see it done.
Yeah, without the trident spin, I didn't know it was possible.
It was a really nice pattern. It was a really nice pattern for that. Getting the double spin at the start of phase 2. Or at the end of phase 1, rather.
torch glitch. Might get a double here. Just one more. And there we have it. With that, get your GGs out in chat. We have our winner, Frostbite3030.
GG. Frostbite taking first place with a time of 1:24.24. Didn't stop his own timer, but that doesn't really matter.
And the real winner is chat, because we get a game 3. So we will try to get Frostbite in here for chat.
See Mclagging pause right there at that room. He's probably typing GG to Frostbite.
I believe that means Frostbite has joined us. GG, dude. Nice win.
Thanks, Matt. Wasn't it funny in that race how, like, Aga 2 never happened? How I just killed Moldorm 2 and I instantly warped to the Ganon fight? Because I don't think Aga 2 ever happened in that race. What an absolute disaster.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, I didn't see it if you didn't see it.
No, that was horrible. I mean, the patterns were bad, but I just didn't have a good fight, needless to say. But other than that, I felt very sort of weird in this seed because it was the craziest opening I've had in a long time where, like, mitts and hammer and all this nonsense before 10 minutes. And then, like, basically the answer was either fake flipper and get the hook shot or get the hook shot and get the mirror and go to swamp. And, you know, you could have been finished really, really fast. But I felt like I hadn't really done anything terribly costly, so I felt pretty good. But it was really, really sort of nerve-wracking down the stretch because everything was so free. And obviously, when I tuned in, you guys were mentioning that you're right, I was incredibly happy to have made the right decision in Swamp Palace because I almost left, but I feel like if I'd found Bombos first, I probably would have been more likely to leave. But because I found Fire Rod first and it opened ice, but I mean, I didn't really want to go there, I decided just to keep going, and it was obviously sort of, I mean, maybe not the game-winning play, but if I'd made the other play, I certainly would have lost.
Would you have gone to left side?
Maybe, I don't know. Probably not. I would have killed the boss, I probably would have skipped left side.
Yeah, Coy and I were both saying that we hope you find Bombos before Fire Rod to kind of avoid that tough decision, and I would not have blamed you for mirroring out in that situation, so...
Yeah, it's sort of one of those 50-50s. I feel like, honestly, one of the things that burns me, like, I mean, I play a lot, so a lot of things burn you if you play a lot, but the noping out of the dungeon that I find my second-to-last go mode item in, it's just uncanny how often the go mode item is also in that dungeon. So I like to, you know, if it's reasonable to check it, then I like to do it. If I'd have found it in the first chest, I would have left 100% for sure. But even going as far as the south chest, you invest all that time flooding the thing and blah blah blah, and I just figured, let's just go. This probably won't lose me the race if it's not here. Was sort of my exact thought process at that time. I was really surprised there wasn't anything in Pod or Eastern. But then I guess not finding the lamp, that made a lot more sense in the end game, but obviously didn't know that early on.
Yeah, like as you were saying, the seed opened up so much at the beginning. Then it felt like there was almost half an hour where neither of you found anything. And we were just kind of waiting. Where's the progression? Where's the progression? And it turned out it was at Zora. So like, like you said, when you found that hook shot, you could have gotten that super early if you really wanted to. How are you feeling at that point?
I didn't feel great, but I didn't feel like it was over and I had to make crazy plays at that point. I just figured where the flippers were, and I started to feel a lot better after I found the mirror hard lock behind the hook shot. So there was no like more reasonable way to get to Zora from Catfish or whatever. So I didn't feel terrible, but I didn't feel great. So I just sort of was playing in a neutral sort of mindset, was go to where I thought the best spots were. What I felt bad about was not going to Swamp Palace right away. I checked. I decided to check Desert first because without going in the book, it doesn't cost you as much time. It was quick checks. Plus the other spots over in that area. I didn't want to get burned by like a Gina for the 8,000th time, so I decided to do that as well. And then I figured if what I'm looking for is in one of those mirror spots out of Swamp Palace, I don't have to go into Swamp Palace at all. Even though in my mind I was thinking this has got to be the play. This mirror is very conspicuously blocked by the hook shot, and basically nothing else was. So I figured that was where the answer was going to lie, was behind the mirror. And obviously Swamp Palace just blocks the most things with the mirror in the game. So. At least if it's not a Dark World situation or a Death Mountain situation. So I was feeling a little bad about that, but I felt I played pretty well. So I don't know. I just felt happy to win at the end.
And with that, Mclagging does take down Ganon, finishing second place in this race, but has another chance in Game 3. He'll finish with a time of 1:29.27, and I'm sure he'll join us in the chat for just a little second.
I mean, he housed me last night so bad I didn't finish, so GG's to him, and congrats for finishing.
Yeah, Frostbite, one other thing was, after the race last night, I figured you'd be beelining it straight for Catfish. But you opted not to in this race. So you don't believe in the patterns in rando.
I do, but I feel like it's enough time for the pattern to break, if you know what I mean. I feel like the patterns work on a more small cycle. So if like I found Catfish in the seed, something on Catfish in the seed I was playing right before I sort of started this seed, then maybe I would have, but nah, man, I try not to I feel like one of the things I used to do when I started was I would route the last seed this seed, and I try not to do that. So for me, Catfish is always a trash check unless I'm checking it very early, and because the whole game was open so early, I didn't feel like checking Catfish was ever really a viable option. Maybe in a big race where you're trying to make that gigabrain play that no one else is going to make at early in the seed, but I was never going to go there again, and if it was there again, I just would have laughed.
Yeah, fair enough. There really, like you said, was not a great time to make your way over there.
I mean, after Pod would have been the best time, but it just always feels horrible walking out of the dark maze and running around there, especially since I had Flute already, so I figured, you know, if these quicker checks I have don't pay off, I can always just Flute to the Pod portal and run over there reasonably quickly. Or I hadn't checked Skullwoods, and that was always in the back of my mind that if I eventually got down to a play of going to Skullwoods, I could just run across the top, and maybe I'd have Mirror at that point, and it would be in a denser chain, but no, the boot spots kept me worried too, because I totally forgot about them and didn't check them for a long time after finding the boots. But no, I felt neutral this whole race. It was really hard to gauge because it was so open, and because there was one play that had to be made. I wasn't going to assume that Mclagging made the Gigabrain play, and I wasn't going to assume that he got it as late as me or got it before me and went to Swamp or whatever. I just played how I thought the quickest way to was without sort of metagaming this one.
All right, and we are also joined by Mclagging. GG, dude.
GG.
Hey, GG.
Yo, thanks, Mclagging. GG's.
I wasn't actually expecting a nice seed, because when does the game ever do that to you? I just put off Swamp way too long, I feel like, then just playing from behind, I felt like most of the time at the end there.
Yeah, it was really super even up to that kind of one decision point where Frostbite made his way into Swamp right away while you did the kind of Skullwoods North route, and it just kind of turned out that the progression was in Swamp Palace. You kind of just lost the coin flip on this one. I feel like you can't really feel bad about that. You just got to move on and get ready for Game 3.
Yeah, I don't feel too bad about it. I wasn't expecting both Bombos and Fire Rod in there, because I figured with how late the mirror was, one of those mirror checks was going to orphan something somewhere, so like, I'm going to clear those and see what we get. But by the time I cleared all those, I had nothing left but Swamp, so I was just in a full clear Swamp mode at that time.
Yeah, when we were saying when you got to Swamp, because you had done all those other checks, that I felt it was you were more inclined to leave after finding the Fire Rod. So definitely made the right decision there to continue on to the back like Frostbite did to get that Bombos medallion.
I really contemplated leaving right when I got that Fire Rod. It's like, if something else is here, Frostbite might have skipped it.
He was all over.
I did open the save quit menu, but I don't know. I got lucky. I stayed in there. I don't know. It's sort of one of those 50-50 calls. Like Fire Rod just didn't like. Skullwoods was open and Ice was open, and I guess that's more items or the same amount of items that were still left in Swamp. But I mean, I was already in Swamp, and that was sort of the thing that made me stay.
Yeah, well, from Mclagging's point of view, he had gone to the front of Skullwoods, and both items were fire locked. So
Oof.
finding the fire means that's 5 items in Crystal Dungeons that just became available that weren't beforehand. Where for you,
I
those
didn't
2
even realize that. Yeah, that makes sense.
wouldn't have changed anything. But you both made the call. You got that Bombos medallion, and definitely would have beat me in this race.
I feel like this was the seed I played where I could have had eyes on the gold sword the earliest. Like, if I had have activated the flute, fluted to the mountain, and checked that spot, I could have seen the gold sword by like 5 minutes. I think gold sword or tempered sword, I think, was before like 3 minutes. It was insane.
Yeah, it was in the chicken hut. Like, you got it pretty much immediately.
That's what you were hoping for when you picked a shirt, right?
I just wanted a sword, period. I don't know. I feel like it's 50-50 between that happening and then that assured sword being the only one you find for 90 minutes as well. So I think it kind of goes both ways. But I mean, needless to say, I was really happy to find those swords that early. And then to find everything so early, other than like the mirror, like the flute was right there, and then the mitts, and then the hammer, or I guess vice versa, and then the boots were right there. Like, it was just bananas.
Bananas. So speaking of changes to the mode, Mclagging, you're going to have the opportunity to change the mode coming into this next race. Do you know what you're going to pick yet?
I think I'm gonna go to an old school route since we have a shared sword on, and also pick standard.
Oh yes,
Not casual.
Amazing.
There we go.
Not casual, podcast. Yes.
Yeah.
That's such a
awesome.
misnomer, in my opinion, to call it dot casual, because I've died to the ball and chain guard in my NMG runs more than once.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that guy's the first boss of the game.
For sure, but the difference is when my NMG runs, all 3 of them, when I go for the ball and chain guard, I just YOLO it. In a rando run, if I get down to 1 heart, I chicken out and go pick up a pot and don't die.
I will tell you, in my game 3 of my first group match, I died to the ball and chain guard in a standard seed.
Yikes.
I mean, I died to the ball and chain guard in one of the qualifiers in an open seed, and that felt almost as bad. Especially since I had hammer. But no, that's going to be awesome. We haven't scheduled it yet, but it'll be some point in time. And yeah, I'm super looking forward to it. I think these matches have been really competitive. I think we're pretty similar in our skill level. And I wish I just hadn't ruined the first one, because this one I'm sure is going to be a lot better watch, because
yeah, you guys are
someone didn't
very
start their
evenly
breaks out.
matched. Mclagging having a little more God vision in the first one, you having a little more God vision in this one.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going to happen in game 3? Hopefully it's like Aga Ped Tile Room or something, right? And then we can really see the execution matter.
No, I don't want that. I was watching the end of the seed that Illitz and Swerve were playing, right? We were sort of waiting because they were running a little long because their seed was so trash. And we were just joking, just not like this. And then we got a really free seed. So that was, or not really free, but a pretty free seed. So that was awesome.
I think the real goal is that we tie like someone else did here
Yes.
and end up with a game 4, just for even more hype.
Dude,
That would
I
be
was so
amazing.
tilted when that happened.
Oh, man.
Like, I just came off losing 2 games to you, Mclagging, and then like, oh my god, now I have to play 4 games to maybe get out of my group. It was very stressful. I do not wish that upon anybody.
I wouldn't mind a tie just because it's like, the memes and the lulz and all that. I mean, obviously I'd rather win, but I mean, if I can't win, a tie's better than losing because at least I'm still alive, right? So that would be awesome. But no, this has been a really fun series, and I just was totally out of it because, of course, my Buffalo Bills are playing, and I had that sort of on in the background, and I just realized now that I have 4 bottles, and I wasn't even sure that I knew I had a single one of them. I only marked 2 of them on my tracker. But no, this was a really fun race, and yeah, super looking forward to the next one. And big thanks to Matt and Coy. It's going to be an awesome watch back when I watch it back later tonight.
Yeah, thanks guys for commentary, restreaming, tracking.
Thank you guys for putting on such a great show for us.
Our pleasure.
So I think with that, we're gonna call it a stream unless anybody else has anything they would like to add. All right. Thanks everybody for watching. Thank you to our tracker Slowpoke, and we will catch you guys in the next race. Coy, what do we have coming up? Do you have the schedule open?
I do. I believe that there is a race between Humbug and Ferrain that has already started on Speed Gaming 2. And then much later tonight at 9:20 Eastern, there's Amazing Ampharos during Doom Tap, also on Speed Gaming 2. Lots of good runners. Every single match in this bracket stage is absolutely awesome. Don't want to miss anything.
All right, nice. So with that, thank you everybody for watching, and we will catch you next time.
Bye, all.